Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to ChriswithaC. Hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today. Now, as you know, guys, here on the channel recently, I've been looking at second-hand trucks, vehicles, cars, you know, trying to purchase sensibly, get some value for money out of stuff. Now, I've got a friend over in Ireland. His name's Neil. And when he actually went out and purchased this, I thought, well, you know, at some point I'd like to have one. He said, if it ever comes up, I'll let you know, and obviously you can make a decision from that point. I said, okay, great, no problem. Thanks very much, mate. Now, as I mentioned, I did have another RC that wasn't essentially a truck. And yeah, we've picked up the Losi Pro Moto MX, guys. Now, this is a 1/4 scale, all right? So it's quite a big RC. 1/4 scale basher bike. Now, these were all over the internet a couple of years ago when they first came out. Loads of people, there's a bit of a cult following for them. Loads of people enjoy them. And I thought, well, I wanted an RC that kind of would give me a little bit of something different on my downtime. So when I want to go out by myself and just enjoy an RC for being an RC, rather than concentrating on basher trucks, you know, racing around, ripping this, that, the other, I wanted something that was still kind of off-roady, but on the other hand, just completely different. And essentially, that's what this is, guys. Now, the backstory about this is I've managed to purchase this for way less than 3S basher. I managed to pick this up for only £300, all right? And essentially, it was a deal that you done for me through friends. I was lucky to get all of it the way I did. It came with fully boxed, all the instructions, everything I needed in the box, and also two 2S lipos, guys. So again, as I mentioned in my Super Rock Ray video, there's a lot of deals out there if you know the right people or looking in the right places. And again, I'm going back down that route. Now, 1/4 scale, guys. The big thing about this is got a full gyro. Gyro systems run on a separate motor. Essentially, that will keep the bike from toppling over. There is a learning curve, obviously, to running something like this, and obviously we will go down that route. As you can see, very, very different kind of RC, though. Very different kind of RC. Very scale looking as well. As you can see on the back here, guys, you have got all the information about the bike. You've got front disc brakes, proper working suspension, a full gyro system supplied by a different motor, a full working chain, stabilizers, rear fender. You know, the whole thing is about the pro scale look. Again, very much like the Rock Ray sound of things. The one I've got here is obviously essentially like the Kawasaki Team Green. And yeah, absolutely love the way this looks. I'm going to get this out on the table now, and obviously we'll change over to a different camera. We'll go through some of the specs, but the whole gyro system, just quickly, as you can see, is the MS6X, all right? This will keep the bike from toppling over. It can allow you to do some stunts and stuff, you know, going up on the back wheel. Yeah, I really like the look of this. It does use a dedicated handset, obviously, so you can run the gyro system, and obviously there is a way of turning it all on as well. So yeah, let's go ahead, let's get it unboxed, let's get it on the table, and fingers crossed I can show you guys, and yeah, you can give me your thoughts in the comments. Have you got these? What upgrades have you done? I have got a upgrade already to add to the vehicle, and I'll show you in a second. But yeah, looking forward to this. Right, okay, so we have the Losi Pro Moto MX on the table, guys, as you can see. As I mentioned, I actually picked this up for under £350, so £300 essentially is what I paid for it. This is obviously a second-hand bike. He used it roughly, I think he said roughly about 3-4 times, I believe. So there is a little bit of damage. What I have done actually is got it out of the box and I've just cleaned up a few bits, added some decals on where there was damage, and as you can see, obviously added my logo on the rear here. It is a 1/4 scale motocross bike, guys, with full working brakes. Obviously you've got the full suspension and shock travel and everything else. Let's take it off a stand. It is quite heavy, mind, I will say that. As you can see, now full working suspension as well as the front forks. The front forks will push down like so. So obviously you've got full shock absorbers. Obviously I like the rider, the faux look of the rider on there. I might actually go ahead and get a hoodie for this. This clever little system in here. So essentially what this has is a gyro system for keeping it up. So the gyro essentially spins up and keeps the bike in one place. So let's just put it back onto the stand a second. There you go, guys. Now the whole plan with this was obviously to have something a little bit different to go ahead and ride, or drive, should we say. Drive, is it driving or is it riding? I think it's probably driving, but obviously there's a rider on top, so very confused by that. It does come with the Spectrum DX3 handset, as you can see. All right, now essentially this is a slightly different version to obviously your standard DX3. On there you also have your flywheel. So your flywheel essentially is for obviously starting up the flywheel on the bike. So you will need to, the whole process of this is you turn that up, and then obviously that's your gyro. You've got your gyro rate here. So essentially, when I refer to gyro, what I mean on this one, there is a gyroscopic wheel that spins around really fast, and essentially that motion keeps the bike afloat and everything working. When I say afloat, obviously it stands up. It doesn't fall down on you. Your typical front brake rate, sub trim front brake travel. Obviously this is all adjustable on there, so obviously you can adjust your braking. Again, if your brakes are too sharp, you can adjust it on the handset. AB, obviously button there, your bind button. Your accelerator does take double A's. So there's that. Now, in there as well is obviously he has included the instructions. Sure. So that's obviously nice that we've got those. Some Losi inspired race parts as well, some carbon fibre bits as well, swing arm, you got the front spindle, sprockets, and then obviously different style of plastics. So that's pretty cool. Obviously you can change that up. Honda, essentially, what would yellow be? I think it'd be a Yamaha. Would be, I don't know, is it Yamaha for yellow? I can't remember. Or Suzuki is blue, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and then whatever for those, maybe, I don't know, Husqvarna or something like that. You also get in there some spanners, obviously for adjusting your rear links, e.g. taking the slack out of the chain. You also get these big screws, not screws, these nails. And that guys, is for your starter position. Now, what happens is obviously you can nail this into the floor, the bike goes in, and then if you can imagine, the bike would then fire out of these traps. A lot of people don't actually use them. What they essentially do is get hold of the bike and just push it away. I really like the kind of scale look of this bike as well. I'm kind of looking for something to bash around with and just spend a little bit of time. There are stabilizers on the bike. Obviously you can change the position on the stabilizers as well. Essentially this is obviously your training wheels. What I liked about this is obviously the whole scale look. Here in the South Wales Valleys, motocross is a big thing. A lot of boys around here absolutely adore their motocross bikes, and yeah, there's a big culture behind the whole motocross thing here. Now I'm not a massive motocross guy. But I love just the whole scale kind of look of this, and a completely different RC experience. What I will say is, as I say, when I got it, there was some damage to some of the stickers, so it came with some new stickers. So as you can see, I've put on there the Pro Moto MX on the front fender here. Obviously changed up a few bits there, put a sticker on the back of the bike. Then there was a bit of damage on this rear mudguard, so I put a Losi sticker over the top and ChriswithaC sticker there. But overall, the condition of it is very, very, very good, to be honest with you. It's a completely different aspect to RC than something I've ever tried, and to have that kind of scale look. Now, specs on this, guys. All right, motors. It ideally is 2S. I have seen boys running them on 3S. Me, I'll continue to run it on 2S because essentially that is what I want to do. The inside there, guys, yeah, as I mentioned, you've got two motors. One is for obviously stopping and starting, but you have another brushless motor then spinning the flywheel. And as I say, that flywheel is designed to give you what happens with a flywheel, essentially, as it's spinning, all right, and spinning up at such a rate that because of the forward motion that's going on, that will actually stop the bike from toppling over. You can adjust that. Obviously, there are different versions where the flywheel will allow you to pop a wheelie and it will hold your wheelie for you, or, you know, I'm going to have to do some reading into this. I would possibly like to do a couple of little upgrades. Now, as I mentioned, upgrades, just to quickly show you, I have been speaking to Method. Obviously, they sponsor the channel, and they have sent over these geoforms, guys. All right, so they're different, completely different wheel, belted tires, and they have the geoform pattern. So these are geoform tire rim for Losi Pro Moto. They are belted and glued. So what you would need to do is obviously change out the spindle and then obviously add that in. So there is composite spindles in there at the moment. You can get aluminium, but I will be adding those to the vehicle. Now, the knobblies that are on there, they're actually in very good condition. A little bit of wear on the rear, but nothing on the front really. Essentially, that's probably because it's popping wheelies all the time. There is a faux brake on the rear. But on the back there, on the front, sorry, there is a full working brake, and also, as you can see, this wire there is essentially for your front brake. You can adjust obviously the brakes. Now, I'm not sure whether the ESC in here will need updating, or if you can actually update it, so I will check that. But overall, super happy with what I've managed to pick up, and huge thank you to my friend Neil for allowing me to purchase this. As I say, it came with two Z's, 2S batteries, and they were 5200s, 80C, I believe. Yeah, 80C, I think they are, which is more than adequate. I have seen boys obviously on Thingiverse printing things off to actually manage to get 3S batteries in there. I'm not sure if I want to run this on 3S though, to be quite honest with you. I would have liked to have been able to use my Radial Link handset. Now, the only thing is obviously all these different adjustments. I'm not sure if you have to use this handset, or if there's any guys out there that have actually programmed their handsets to use some of the features that are on this handset. I'm going to pause 2 seconds, come straight back to you. Right, okay, so just doing a bit of research. I'm just looking at the back of the box here, okay? Let's have a look. So the front, there is a crash structure, which is obviously to stop damage on the front. Rear fender lifts up obviously again when you pop a wheelie, so that doesn't damage. The interesting thing for me, I was trying to find out some information about the motors in here. So looking on the side, you've got a 3836 what is it, a 3650, I believe, 3652 motor, obviously for the forward motion, and the firmer 2700 kV, which is powering the flywheel. The other thing is as well, the front forks, they are essentially a hybrid shock. So down here you've got an oil reservoir and springs. So that is something obviously you can fine tune. The size of the vehicle, though, as I say, is a 1/4. Quite a big vehicle, actually, to be honest with you. If you compare this to, obviously, like a 1/10 scale car, this is much, much bigger. I was quite taken back by the size of it, to be honest with you. And everything is licensed as well. So you've got fully licensed Dunlop tyres. You know, that essentially is what Losi seems to be doing a lot of lately, is there's the whole kind of pro scale looking stuff. So you've got obviously Renthal on the bars, obviously Renthal handlebars, VP racing oils, I believe. What else we got on you? Renthal exhausts, Dunlop. Obviously, all these are kind of just real sponsors being obviously licensed for this. Now, there are some modifications that I would like to possibly do with this further down the line, e.g. aluminium trailing arm. The calipers I've seen, obviously you can get an aluminium as well. I don't want to add too much weight to it because obviously I don't want to spoil the driving character. Is it driving or is it riding? I can't make my mind up on that one. I'm going to say driving characteristics of this RC, all right? I don't want to add too much weight, and then that way then obviously it feels sluggish and weird. But overall, massive thank you to Neil for hooking me up with this vehicle. The batteries, guys, one thing I will say, from what I've seen, you have really got to be careful with the size of the batteries you're putting into this. So a full-size 2S hard case LiPo normally fits in you, and you want to check, obviously, because your battery connection is underneath here in this little, as you can see, you've got your IC5 poking through there, and then obviously your battery is hidden inside the actual motorbike. Very clever design, actually, to be honest with you. Quite appreciated that. Now, what I'm going to do is obviously get it set up. You have got a full oil-filled shock in there as well, which is sprung loaded and dampened. But I'm going to get it all set up, and then what we're going to do is probably take it down to Dusty for his first run and basically do some figure of eight, get used to the way it works, and you know, just enjoy it for what it is. I don't want to go nuts with this one, I really don't. I want to enjoy the RC for what it is, rather than going nuts with upgrades. And I mean, tyres, they're subjective essentially. If you're looking for a different tread pattern or something that's going to be a little bit more grippy, or harder wearing, is definitely something that is on mine. Big shout out to Method, obviously, for hooking me up with the wheels as well, guys. Right, let's go back up top now. There's not a lot I can show you here. I will do some arty-farty pictures for you in a moment, and yeah, we'll go up top and talk about it. Right guys, welcome back. Okay, Losi Pro Moto, what's your thoughts? Look, I was looking for something completely different, something out there, something completely different kind of experience when it comes to RC. I'm not essentially a plane guy, helicopter guy or boats. So that was kind of out the window. I'm not saying I won't do it at some point. Maybe I will. But for me, I love dirt. I love I brought up around motorbikes as a kid. We've got a big kind of culture here in South Wales where obviously because of the coal tips, that sort of thing, you always see motorbikes out and about. Big crowds of people going out and enjoying them. Now, I was just looking for a completely different experience to all the RCs that I got. And look, the Pro Moto doesn't get much more different really. 2 wheels as opposed to 4. It's got that kind of scale look as well. Again, something that I enjoy. The articulation with the suspension, the realistic looking rider. And I want to say a huge thank you to Neil, all right? Neil is my friend from Ireland. He's also a fellow admin, one of the guys who helped me set up RC Buddies V2. When we got talking, obviously he picked up the Pro Moto. It was essentially, I was like kind of, not like a green-eyed monster, that would be the wrong way to put it, but it was like envious. I was like, ooh, I like the look of that. And for some, never picked one up. And I thought at the end of the day, the best way to kind of go ahead with this was like, you know, at some point, maybe find one. And then he said, look, if I ever get rid of it, right, what I'll do, I'll get in contact with you. £300, guys. You know, it's a no-brainer. And then going back down the route of trying to find second-hand RCs, as long as you trust in the person you're buying from, yeah, there's definitely some bargains to be had. Came with 2 2S light bows, fully boxed. Yes, all right, there's a few marks on it, but again, all those things I can change. E.g., so plastics probably cost not a lot really at all when you consider the cost of the RC. Here in the UK, you're looking around about £649 for that. So to pick it up for £300, it's been used 4 times with 2 batteries. It was a no-brainer. So yeah, there is that. Like I say, and it kind of bounces off the back of the Losi Super Rock Ray that we just picked up. Do I like new RCs? Of course I do. You know, I'm an RC enthusiast. I love them. But if you're kind of more budget-minded, you're willing to put a little bit of work in, and you're willing to accept that someone else has used it and maybe marked it, and then obviously you can make some incremental changes and then go ahead down the route of upgrades, you're going to save yourself a few pounds. So there is that. Definitely interested in seeing how this is going to run. No idea. Like I say, I wanted something completely different to how my previous RCs. And look, apart from putting something in the air, I think this is definitely it. I want to say a huge thank you to you guys watching all the videos. All the likes, shares and subscribes to go on the channel is absolutely amazing. And honestly, guys, it's going to be a bit of a weird one, this one, because obviously I've got to go out and try and practice now. Practice, it's not driving, it's not riding. What is it? You guys let me know in the comments down below. Till next time, check the box for more videos. Stay awesome. I'll catch you later.